Hi folks, and welcome back to my top 100 board games of all time. Well, we are in the top 60 now, and let's start with number 60, Dinosaur Island. Have you ever wondered what it would be like to play Jurassic Park the board game? I give you Dinosaur Island. Dinosaur Island is fantastic. You are basically gaining DNA, splicing that DNA to create dinosaurs for your little dinosaur park, and trying to manage it, trying to make sure security is up. If not, the dinosaurs will roam free and they are going to eat your people. But that doesn't stop guests from returning. In fact, you could have hooligans that will come and sneak into your park and get in for free, and you will not score victory points or money from them. The game is beautiful. It had an expansion that came out a few years back with all these sea creatures in it, which we do play and is awesome. It basically just gives you different avenues. There's so many ways to play this game. You can go for ferocious, meat eaters, but then they're going to be breaking out everywhere. You got to make sure your security is really tight. Or you can just go for a bunch of low-scoring, mild dinosaurs that even if they do roam out, they're not going to hurt anyone. Or maybe you're a man who goes middle of the road, scored bigger points, but not have things get too out of hand. Either way, all of those are good strategies, and all those can really help you in the game. Now, with the expansion, I play all the little extra things that come with it. Like floor plans that if you build your little player board to have all these certain dinosaurs or restaurants or souvenir shops on it, you'll get bonus points that way. I have the little extra special yellow meeples or whatnot that can give you special abilities in the game. I love it all, man. I love it all. Now, they came out with, or they're coming out with something next year called Jurassic World, basically its own separate game. I went ahead and got it because I love Dinosaur Island so much. It is just a great game, really fun to play, and you don't really, the Kickstarter edition has these metal coins. I'm a sucker for metal coins. You don't have to get metal coins for it, but the game does just feel like, in fact, we play the Jurassic Park theme song every time we play it. The dice are amber colored because you're getting the DNA from those amber colored insects. Like I said, awesome game. Jurassic Park should be kicking themselves for not, delivering the IP over them and sharing some of that mountains of money they're probably making at Pandasaurus Games with this. But I absolutely love Dinosaur Island. That's why it's number 60 on my list. At number 59 is another excellent game called Heaven and Ale. Heaven and Ale, basically you're just monks moving around the board and placing tiles on your own player board and getting hopefully extra things, money, or just pushing different items up the track. This game's got a kind of unique mechanism here, or score keeping mechanism, I guess, where your highest one will have to move down some, where your other ones can move up, and you'll meet in the middle, whatever that is. So it basically forces you to move all of your ingredients, or whatever, I can't remember what they stand for, but you're trying to move all of your score trackers up at the same time, so you don't have to lose that many points in the end. Now, this game did come out with a expansion, Kegs and More. Meh, you don't really need it. It's nice, it's okay. Is it necessary for the game? Absolutely not. But the game itself is really fun because you get to score every type of tile on your board once, and you're gonna have to score them early and not get as many points, but the time comes, the strategy is, when can I score these and what's the best method, because you need money again, super tight, and then of course you need definitely resources too. So when and where you activate certain things on your board really matter. Getting all your score trackers up on your player board matters a lot, and the expansion Kegs and More does not matter unless you really love this game. I'll play with it just because I have it, but I don't think it enhances the game or makes it any better than it already is. At number 58 is a pepper picking game called Scoville. Scoville, you are planting and picking hot peppers to either sell to the town market or create your own little chili recipes with them, and that way you can score a lot of points. This game is uber fun, uber colorful too. You get points for for being the first to plant some of the high-end peppers as well, and there's just so much going on with this game, and how you make the bidding. You're bidding for first place. You'll get to go first, the first and third round of the game, and you'll go last on the second round of that turn. And it'll make more sense if you saw the review on this, but they do have a little expansion to it called Scoville Labs, where you have your own little personal pepper farm where you can grow one pepper one time only. It's a one-time use every time you plant a pepper there. To be honest, you should get it because we get it, and if you don't use it, you're hurting yourself. I use it a lot, and it can give you those extra peppers that you just can't get on the board. Either you're too far away at that point, or there's just no other option to get some of these peppers. I do like this because in the first round, the common peppers, red, blue, and yellow, they're everywhere. You can get them anytime. In the second round, they are really hard to get. If you don't have a spot to give you red, blue, and yellow because they're so common at the first round, you'll be hurting in the second round, guaranteed. That happened to us one game. So you definitely want to make sure you plant peppers that can grow any type of pepper, and you'll be shocked and see how many people, because you're trying to move your little planter or harvester through the certain aisles, and he's collecting peppers. Now you do have to look at an annoying chart a lot to figure out what pepper am I getting if I cross those two. But it's not that annoying. I absolutely love hot sauce, love chili, so that you're kind of selling these peppers to the town market or making those chilies. The chilies have hilarious names. I finally got the promo pack from Dice Tower with a bunch of different recipes to add to my game. I was so happy to get that because Scoville is just excellent. Very colorful, very fun to play, and a lot of strategies, a lot of interaction with other players, because harvesters can screw over other players by blocking them. They'll have to, you can't go around someone, you can't go through them, you have to find a different route. And so a lot of times you get that last pepper just to block someone else from getting it. Ooh, cutthroat game, but very, very fun. Scoville, my number 58. At number 57 is Crown of Emara. Crown of Emara, you are basically moving your player around two different rondels in a way. One's basically for gathering resources. The second one is in the city, and it's using those resources to convert them into points. It's basically as simple as that. Now, this is a game that I got very early before anyone else, reviewed it, loved it, and yes, it is very popular. This is another one I thought, this will be very popular. It's the only game that I got before anyone else that now it's very popular. I mean, I see it on everyone's top 100, and it's much higher than where I'm placing it. Maybe I need to play it more. What's wrong with these guys? No, it doesn't matter if they love it more, but it is a phenomenal game because you're using certain cards and determining who is going to be moving this round. And like I said, the field gives you all the resources that you need to convert into victory points in the city. So there's a smart balance to be taken between the two. It is I would say a midweight Euro game, not really that heavy Euro game, that just has a lot of moving pieces to it and is really, really good. Seriously, if you haven't checked out this game, it's all the hype right now and all the rage, and it definitely deserves it. Crown of Emara, beautiful, beautiful game. At number 56 is a new game I added to my collection, is Passing Through Petra. Here you are basically selecting merchants from a long caravan and adding them to your board. Now eventually you're going to be cashing those merchants in. It's going to be the ones that you have on top of your little player board multiplied by the ones that you have in your own personal caravan. And that's going to let you go around certain tracks. I think there are like 5 tracks in the game. And whatever color you're activating, you get to move around that track. Now this is basically you're just trying to get rid of a bunch of cubes. If you get rid of all your cubes first, you win. Every time you go around the track, you can pay a cube. And going around those tracks first lets you get to those early spots first and lets you get rid of cubes a little bit faster. Also, when you're halfway around that track, you're going to get extra bonuses in the game that's going to help you out a lot too. Man, this game is awesome. This is another game that I thought would be just a real big hit, and it just kind of petered out and no one really cared about it. I think it went on sale like a few weeks later. I was like, oh, that's not a good sign. But Passing Through Petra is great. You can do your actions. I think there's a 3x3 square grid where you get to move across it. And when you move, whatever action you're moving toward, up, down, left, right, is the action you can take. Meaning If I'm all the way on the far right and I take 2 steps left, I can do that action twice, but then I have to do something else. And it's either the top or the bottom action. And I love that. It basically guides you into thinking, I can't be doing the same thing overall. Because, what you want to do is you want to build up all these merchants, right? That's the obvious thing. Build up all the merchants, then cash in on them. You'll get to go around the track 6 times if you do that. The game forces you to do things differently. And I do enjoy that about this game. Really smart game, looks beautiful on the table, has these mountain ridges that are really unnecessary for the game. A lot of it is aesthetic, the board is, and it's not really needed, but hey, A+ for looking pretty. I absolutely love the game. Passing Through Petra. Beautiful, beautiful game. I already said beautiful. Let me try something else. Classy game. At number 55 is one of the biggest surprises in my collection, that a game that I never knew about until just a few months ago, and that was Atelier. I don't know how you pronounce this, but it's a painting game, and it's absolutely gorgeous. Basically, you're rolling dice. You're selecting its dice placement, I guess. You're utilizing that die for certain actions, either gathering paints or moving painters onto the board or moving them in different spaces around the board. Or when you collect paint, you can only collect paint in areas where you have the majority. And then there's other actions that let you actually paint a painting. Your player board looks like a painter's palette, with all the little colors everywhere, and that's where all the little colors go and all the extra actions too. If there's a die pip you don't like and you don't want to use, you can just push aside and at least get a little, I think it's called inspiration token, and if you save up enough of those, you can cash those in for some in-game points or for re-rolls or to paint a painting even though you don't have the certain die number on your die. Wonderful game. The artwork is absolutely beautiful. It gives you sometimes there's big points that don't give you any special abilities and low points that do give you special abilities. The winner is whoever collects, I believe it's 4 star paintings. Star paintings have a star at the bottom of it in the description. And they're actually real paintings that you're painting too, by the way, and teaches a little bit about it. I love art games. I already have one in my vintage collection and one that I mentioned earlier with Colors of Paris, which is another good one I love. But I love Atelier much better, much better, just because it's just so cool. It flows really well, and you can get it for dirt cheap. I got my copy for dirt cheap, and I'm so shocked that I'm the guy who loves to look at under the radar games that everyone passes up. I'll definitely give it a second shot because I'm interested in see what it is. But even I didn't know about this game. They'd been out for like a year or something. Never heard of it before. And I don't know how I found out about it. I was trying to make a trade with someone. I think that's what it was. And I was like, well, what is this? I was like, oh, it's only $10. I'll just buy a copy and then trade for something else for him. But great game. If it looks like it's a game for you, then let me just go ahead and tell you, it is. I love this painting game. That's why it's on my list at number 55. At number 54 is Corporate America. Corporate America, you are basically getting businesses and then running for president or supporting a president who's going to help you run those businesses and give you money for the business that you run and make you more profitable. And heck, if you run for president, then you can pick any laws and regulations. But you definitely want to make those who supported you happy, or they're going to take you down the next round. This is a great game. I absolutely adore it. I remember the first time this came to my list, it was like, 98 or 99? It was very low on my list. And it went up into the 70s, and now it jumps into the 50s, and who knows where it will go from here. But you're always making deals with one another, and that's what the game has, a big handshake on it, and that's what the game is. It's just making deals when you're running for president, or, hey, if you get this, I'll get this. There's also times in the game where you're flipping over cards. You may not want that card because it may benefit a player who's winning, and you may have to ask. There are ways to pay to pick another card, but you can always ask another player, hey, do you want to split the cost on this and pick another card? You may say, yeah, sure, let's do it. So deals are being made all the time. Now, you don't have to be president to win, but being president does give you those little executive order cards, I can't remember what they're called right now, that can really help you out in the game later on. I know one particular game, I was never president the entire time. I tried to get president, I just couldn't. And the guy who was getting president was obviously doing stuff to line his own pockets. And he fooled the other players. He made them think the decisions he was making was benefiting them. And I kept scoffing at everyone. I was like, guys, are you so afraid of me that you do not want me present? He is going to run away with this. And sure enough, he got everyone in the end with all those extra bonus cards he had. And, oh man, changing laws to screw over everyone at the end where he just cleaned house. But you know what? That's the name of the game. You don't always have to keep your promises here. This game you can get for fairly cheap, at least last time I checked. And every time I play it, it just keeps jumping up my list. I mean, here at 54 today, who knows what it'll be next year. But either way, corporate America, not really a running for president game, just a game about how business and politics mesh really well. Number 53 has an odd name attached to it. It's called Archon, Glory and Mechanism. Don't exactly know what all that means, but it is worker placement, and that I do love. Now, you got all these cards. You have regular workers, which are called courtiers, and then you have special workers that can do certain things, scribes or scientists or merchants or tax collectors. And each one is very important to have in the game. Eventually, as the game goes on, you'll have nothing but all those if you played your cards right. But you're upgrading your cards to be better cards. The tax collector, very dangerous. You can only have 2 of him, because if you play a tax collector somewhere, every time someone plays in that area, they have to give you money. Again, money's super tight in the game, so that's a very powerful character. That's why it only limits you to 2. The rest of them, I think you can have 4 each. But scribes, I won't know what everyone does. Scientists, or I think that's called a scientist. Either way, the blue one is the grande worker. It basically can play on a area that's been blocked out that you wouldn't normally get to play on. A scribe lets you do back-to-back actions, which is, so good. And a merchant's really good because resources are hard to get, and merchants can give you extra resources. So all 4 of these, even though their powers are different, they are equally important. And that's what makes this game super special. Yes, the artwork looks like an ugly stained glass window, but I've gotten over that now, and I just love playing this game. There are, of course, different strategies in winning the game, and just on when you play the cards and where you play them, don't underestimate any of those 4 characters. If you say, nah, I don't think I'm going to get many merchants, then you're always going to be struggling to get supplies. So you do want a fair balance of those. But like I said, every time we play this game, I had my nephews over the last time I played it this year, and it was late that night, and they were past their bedtime. One was getting really tired, but he wanted to finish the game because he was loving. I said, do you want to stop this, dude? And you seem very tired. He's like, no, I want to finish this. I really love this game. I'm just so tired right now. I felt bad for him, but that means you really love the game. You weren't bored; you were just tired. Curse my tiredness. Curse my youthfulness is what I guess it should be saying. Wish I didn't go to bed early every night, or else I could stay up late and play this game. But we did power through it and just had a fun time. Now, when my adult gaming group plays with me, I think I've said this in my review, we call those courtiers. I try to mispronounce it as best I can. A lot of times on purpose we will mispronounce things, but courtiers is probably the best example of that with my board game group, because now when we're playing it, we just get stupid with it. We're always like, just something like that. I don't know. You'd get it if you were in my game group. Anyway, Archon, Glory, and Mechanism. Great game, which is why it's number 53 on my list. Number 52 is Kashgar, Merchants of the Silk Road. In this game, you have 3 caravans. It's a card, and maybe it's deck builder, but you're building up 3 caravans by playing cards on them and then moving through and activating those caravans and those special abilities in the game. This is kind of like Splendor, but a little bit more, it's different because you got the 3 different caravans you can pull from, gathering different actions. Basically what you're doing is gathering resources to fulfill contracts, and in a way that's why it makes it feel like Splendor. Now the reason I like this game is it's very easy to learn. In fact, if they've played Splendor, they'd probably know Kashgar, Merchants of the Silk Road. It's not that much different. But in the 3 caravans and managing those 3 caravans, sometimes there's cards that let you cull your deck or cull your caravan, and that's good. Sometimes, though very rarely, you just may have to take an action of a guy and do nothing with him just because you want to get to the next card behind him. And every time you add someone, it's harder to get to that character again. And plus you want to have the perfect type of caravans. You want each one to complement the other. So no matter what turn it is, you can pick any caravan and hopefully get more resources or buy contracts or something else in the game. Get more coin or mules, which you sometimes need to fulfill contracts as well. This is just a fun game another game I think you can get for pretty cheap too, that is great. So if you're a Splendor or Century Spice Road fan, I believe Kashgar Merchants of the Silk Road is something you need to check out. And finally, at number 51 is Architects of the West Kingdom. Now this is a game that should be no surprise to everyone. I love worker placement, and this one you're placing workers and they don't get picked back up unless someone arrests them. And so and someone will eventually turn them into the police or the authorities, because as you keep playing more of your men there, your actions become more and more powerful. And so someone's definitely going to put a stop to you on this. This is a great game. I do play with the expansion and have a blast with it. Now last year this was in my 90s and a few people were like, what? That's an awesome game. I said, don't worry, it's new. It'll probably go up. And yes, it just hit outside being a top 50 game this year. But Architects of the West Kingdom, Renegade Games again. I didn't get, I can't remember what the other two, Paladins of the West Kingdom, wasn't interested in that one. And then Viscounts of the West Kingdom, maybe for later down the road I'll get that one. But Architects of the West Kingdom is just incredible fun. And like I said, there's a lot of different strategies in what you're doing in this game. And it's so easy, I think, to teach to people too. That's another reason it's just going to stay with me. And that's another reason it probably keeps moving up for that reason. And I absolutely love Architects of the West Kingdom now. Obviously it jumped up probably 40 spots or so since last year. But yeah, this one, another grand slam by Renegade Games, which is quickly becoming one of my favorite publishers, right under Queen Games. All right, folks, that is all the time I have for now, but I will see you next time with my top 50. Later.